If you're listening right now to the Little House 50th Anniversary podcast, we know something about you. We know that you're obsessed with Little House on the Prairie.
For more than half a century, Little House on the Prairie, the series and the books have been bright lights for people all over the world who seek out goodness, decency, and human connection.
Here on the Little House 50th Anniversary podcast, we celebrate everything that made Little House so special.
The stories, the characters, the actors, and the messages that have made Little House iconic family television.
And a perfect counterpoint to a world that feels like it's going off the rails every day.
Where is Michael Landon when we need him most? I'm your host, Pamela Bob.
And I'm your prairie bitch, Allison Arngrim.
And I'm Dean Butler.
Our hashtag imaginary boyfriend. Join us for our loving, quirky, and often irreverent conversations about the finest family drama in the history of television.
And the imperfect people who made it that way.
In this third season, we are extremely grateful for the support of VisitSeeMeValley.com for their continuing sponsorship of Little House on the Prairie and the Little House 50th Anniversary podcast. Hello, bonnet heads. It is I, Pamela Bob, your host, creator and star of Living on a Prairie, and your super fan. And I am here, as always, with our wonderful prairie bitch, Allison Arngrim. And there's the mean face. It's always so mean, but then look at the smile. It's the polar opposite. How strange and bizarre. And our hashtag imaginary boyfriend, Dean Butler. How you guys?
Oh, I'm sorry. So it's Allison's smiling face that's the contrast.
Yes, because she does the mean face so easily, so naturally.
Well,
but
show
then
us that, there
when
you
the
go.
mean
There's
face
the
is
mean
over,
face.
she's just this beautiful, beaming human being of compassion and generosity.
Yes.
Is she not? She is.
She is. No, she absolutely is. No question. Yeah. So and I'm here. Let's see. Am I sort of covering my rage? No, I don't.
No.
No, I no. So I'm here. I'm here in Northern California this week. You can see the family buffalo, Uncle Fitzhugh, behind me on the wall. Uncle Fitzhugh lived and passed here on the ranch many years ago, and has been preserved. And the buffalo has been on our mantle there for my entire life. It's, and for many years before. So here in Northern California and doing family stuff. And yesterday, big cleaning day, filling the 30 cubic yard dumpster with things that build up, in a big family place. So everything's feeling sort of spick and span now.
It's always great when you get to the other side of that.
That's great.
But while you're doing it, it feels so
it's a drag.
impossible.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So
good for you.
Yeah. Thank you, Allison. How was Burr Oak?
Oh my God, Burr Oak was awesome. Now it is. It's big. And I said, okay, wow, the parade is the shortest parade ever, like that. And they go, no, this year we had quite the turnout. It was 30 minutes. It was 10 minutes last year. So it's gotten much bigger. It took a whole.
My God, how many people were there?
It was a lot of people. Now, the parade is primarily tractors and various farm equipment and fire trucks. There was a couple trucks that were floats.
Now, I rode in an old T-Bird or a Corvette or something. What did you ride in?
My ride. So remember that I, tweaked the nerve thing and I'm off to the doctors again today to get checked. Wow. So I'm being super careful with the leg. And once I got there and, got in the swing of things, and I could sit down or stand as I pleased. And they were like, yeah, take a break. So I was fine. But then they said, well, you see, the man who was bringing the car, I was going to have this sort of day-glow yellow dune buggy. It was gorgeous. I was like, yeah, I'm into that. And it was very Hair Bear Bunch, like 60s cartoon dune buggy. And then they said, well, the guy, he had a fall, and he had to go to the emergency room. And I said,
oh no.
I said, this sounds awfully familiar. Is this going around? What is that? And they said, yes, he's fine. He's going to be okay. He was riding his ATV, but he can't come today with the dune buggy. And I was like, oh no. And they said, but the fire truck, because we have an antique fire truck, and they had a calliope. It was like hilarious. I said, the fire truck people said you can ride on the fire truck. I said, on the fire truck? Well, yes, they have lawn chairs. On top of that, I said, a lawn chair. On top of the fire truck. I said, is that a secured lawn chair? They said, we're not sure. I said, are you sure? He goes, well, and the lady running, she said, maybe you should be in the cab of the fire truck. We'll see what we do when we get there. So comes parade time, and I come trotting out, and it's a big, old, beautiful, gorgeous fire truck. And there's lawn chairs on top. And I said, I don't know. I mean, it's a hell of a view. So I go to climb it to see it, and it's a hardware store aluminum ladder simply affixed to the back of the
Oh my goodness.
And I was like, but it seems on there. And they said, look, we will, make sure you don't fall. We'll be here, help you. You can check it out and then see if it. And so they helped me. And I went up the ladder. And the lawn chairs, there's a lot of stuff going on top of a fire truck. These kind of. So it was stuck between things. They weren't going anywhere. And I went, I will ride on top of this fire truck. Because how often do you get the chance? So,
I hope there are pictures.
Video. I did pictures.
Okay.
I did a Facebook Live from it because I said, this is a hell of a view. I was like, hi, this is Alice Horgan on top of a fire truck. So I did the whole thing on Facebook Live. It was insane. And the parade is about 3 blocks.
Oh, you did?
It is about 3 blocks. And I'm like, da-da-da-da.
I'm sorry, all that for a 3-block ride.
Yeah. The longest drive was from where we were parked to the beginning of the parade, and then after the parade back to where they let you off. It was more of that than it was the actual parade. The actual parade was here, and then you go past the Masters Hotel, and then you turn because
yes,
they have a hand. They show me their bank, which was the first bank to be robbed in that region. The Masters Hotel.
What a
totally
thing to be
intact,
known for.
where the Ingalls had a horrible time. And they showed me the room. They went, this is the Ingalls room, and I went, Ma, Pa, Laura, Mary, Carrie, in this room.
It's a tiny space.
They're sitting on top of each other. And even the rooms that the guests, people paid for, they were sleeping 2 and 3 to a bed. I go, who the hell is this place?
Yeah,
But
who would do that? Yeah, exactly.
Who wanted to? I don't know.
It was a different time. I mean, yeah, we
Different
wouldn't.
time.
We just there's no way that most people would even consider that today. But then,
routine.
you just were grateful to have a place to put your head down.
It was
Yeah,
a
of
place
course.
to just crash out, and and they showed me this. It was at the bar area, and they brought in all this beautiful. The furniture's not original, but they brought in antique furniture, dress it all up. This is how this was, but it's all there. The Master Hotel's there, and there's a store that, of course, now they call it the Mercantiles, the gift shop. And I was in the back of the gift shop, saying, and it was all very orderly. I could hear the mob through the door in the gift shop. Rah, 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 rah. They ran out of books. They sold photos through the store. They had people got a little
good
ticket
for
and came in
you.
line through the back. And the morning shift was me in the nightgown and the wig and the wheelchair, and the afternoon shift was me normal. And it was a big old hit. And I did a little speech in the park and took questions. And then in the evening, we went to the church and I did a Q&A.
Nice.
And everybody was. But I did ride on top of a fire truck and technically not totally secured lawn chair, and lived to tell the tale. And I made it through the whole weekend, and they were super, super nice and took care of me and fed me, and I was pretty much pain free. I was like, that's fine, I can do this. So I was okay. I was well enough to climb a fire truck.
Excellent. When you think about all the tiny places that Laura Ingalls Wilder lived, this has got to be the tiniest of the tiny places that she
It
lived.
used to be big. They had 2 hotels at the time. I said, how did we do? There's nothing here. They said, well, we had to because the railroad, and then the railroad went that
Sure.
way. The old
The
railroad.
railroad went through Decorah, not through Burr Oak, is probably
And when the
what
train
happened.
doesn't come no more.
Yeah.
That's what happened.
Decorah, by the way, and we'll get into the episode. Decorah, by the way, is a very charming little community. I mean, it's beautiful flowers, and at least that's what I recall being there.
I wound up staying in Harmony, which is also
Okay. But it was good. You were comfortable.
I had a great
Perfect.
time. It was absolutely. I had a great time, and it was very well attended, as they say. And
Nice.
I have a guy who I knew in LA in the '80s who retired there, so I had friends coming over.
No
It was-
way.
Oh my
yeah,
God.
yeah.
Who retires to? Well, I guess people retire to Iowa.
His
Sure,
family
why
was
not?
originally from there. They were
Okay.
his grandparents probably knew the freaking Ingalls. I mean, it was like a thing.
Yeah.
Whole family was
And I'm
from
sure it's
there, and
beautiful
eventually
there.
Wow.
And what I remember about driving through Iowa is that had the best roads some of the best highways in America are in Iowa. The Iowa senators and congressmen are doing their best to bring the money home from Washington to make sure the roads in Iowa are spectacular.
That is true.
And
the
they
roads
are
great. They're not a pothole in sight, babe, and it's not. So,
So look, we've got our just a quick little. I know you'll put it all in the notes, but we've got our event coming up on the 11th, 12th, and 13th of September in Nashville. One of the fun things about that's going to be our cinnamon chicken dinner. It's a VIP dinner, but a VIP cinnamon chicken dinner on Saturday night. It's obviously we're going to the Grand Ole Opry. We're celebrating Johnny and June Carter Cash at the Grand Ole Opry, the mecca of country music in America. So I think that's going to be a really fun weekend. Little House on the Prairie castreunions.com is where you find out about that. Coming up in July, Allison, we're going to be in Malone, New York at Almanza Wilder Farm, at the Almanza Wilder Farm, one of the really beautiful, truly beautiful, idyllic locations in Laura's world. It's really quite spectacular. You, me, Jennifer Donati, Charles Bloom.
Original buildings and stuff. Yeah,
yes, absolutely. And you're going to do a comedy show, so I think that we can trust that they will find you a wheelchair, so it'll get it.
I talked
fun
to the
will.
lady at the
Okay. Fantastic. And then we're going to be at Heritage Village in Sharonville, Ohio on August 7th and 8th. You and I will be there. Beautiful location. We've talked about that. And, I've shared with you, it's a beautiful, beautiful spot. You're going to love it. It's very humid this time of year, so be prepared for that too. But it's all air conditioned where we're going to be. Yeah.
I've been in Provincetown where it's mighty hot and the beach
yes.
and everything, so that's so we're there the 7th and 8th. So it's the 4th and 5th at the Red Room in P-Town, where you can also come see me. So
awesome.
P-Town.
In P-Town.
I played June Carter in a show. Won an award for it and everything.
I didn't know that.
I know the Carter family because I was in another show playing Jeanette Carter, who is the daughter of AP and Sarah Carter, or was it Mabel Carter? Wow. One of the Carter, she was the daughter. Anyway, I have a randomly extensive historic knowledge of the Carter family and June Carter Cash and Johnny.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
Wow. Well, and their family is going to be performing that night at the Opry to honor their mother and father. So, and maybe it's cousins. I mean, there's a lot of musicality in that family.
Yeah,
for sure.
Quite an amazing story. Their history is incredible.
Well, let's get into this episode. Well,
yes,
no, wait a minute. Before we do that, Pamela, you're off to where are you off to? You're off to
I'm
Kansas.
off to Music Theater. Yeah, Music Theater Wichita.
Okay. I love Wichita.
July. Yeah, I leave July 13th. I'm doing Fiddler on the Roof, and
who are you playing?
It's only Golda, the wife, the mother. I know. You know what's so crazy? My whole life, I've been desperate to be in Fiddler on the Roof. Couldn't get an audition. Every revival on Broadway in New York, couldn't get an audition. I remember my agent at one point was on the phone with the casting director going, no, yes, she's 100% Jewish. Like, yes, right? They wouldn't see me. And then I'd go and watch these shows, and they would be cast entirely with non-Jewish women, which was like, but why wouldn't they see me then? And then, I got old. So now I was like, well, that's never going to happen.
Well, you're not.
Never going to happen.
Wow, you're going to be the most beautiful Golda
play.
ever on stage.
Thank you.
I have shoes.
Well, my whole thing, my whole thing with her is that Golda is who was a daughter. I mean, she's one of these daughters just grown up. This is what happens to the daughters when they grow up. So that's my take on her, and I'm pretty excited to do it. Really very
that's
honored.
Awesome. I played Tevye the Dairyman in high school.
Yes, you did. As many
the waspiest Tevye in ever.
Well, I think we run that. I come home August 3rd. I mean, I'm only there for 3 weeks, so we run only like that long weekend. Begin that first weekend of August. So we have a bunch of shows, but come and see it.
That is very cool. I think it's one of the truly beautiful shows ever.
It is. I
ever
love it.
Created. There is
There's
wonderful humor. There's great emotional life in it. It's beautiful.
My grandfather used to put that record on in our living room and just sit and cry. And
so you listen to the Zero Mostel version of the.
Oh yes, but I have to say I am particularly fond of the movie version.
Oh, really? You like the Topol? You like Topol's approach?
I think Topol
good,
is
though.
the thing. And then in New York a few years ago, Joel Grey directed an all Yiddish version of Fiddler,
Wow.
which is the best version I have ever seen in my entire life.
Yeah,
it was insanely amazing.
Wow.
Insanely amazing. And you didn't have to know Yiddish to know exactly what was going on. It was just thrilling. It was the most beautiful productions I've ever seen.
We are
Beautifully.
digressing like
I know,
mad
let's
here,
go,
but I
let's go.
think that's
Hard
very,
out.
very
We have a
cool.
hard out today.
Pamela.
We must
That's
Okay,
awesome.
we have a hard out. Okay, so listen. Today we're recapping an episode where a sweet and mysterious man. I don't know if I guess he's sweet. We'll discuss. Arrives
Is he
at
sort of, you
Walnut
don't think
Grove.
he's sweet? All right, so rewrite it.
No. If I rewrote it, I would say creepy, and that's not the right word either.
Okay.
I have mixed feelings about this guy. I
Okay.
understand what the sentiment is supposed to be,
Okay.
but anyway,
But yeah.
where we'll just say a mysterious man arrives in Walnut Grove with the power to amuse and touch the hearts of the Ingalls family. Again, a little conflicted about that as well. But anyway, from UBN Go and Prairie Partners, and visit seemyvalley.com and our patrons. This is the Little House on the Prairie 50th anniversary podcast. Yay!
So much for the setup. Okay.
Okay.
Here we go.
What are we actually talking about, Dean?
Oh, you're asking me now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So,
Shoot.
all right. So today we're talking about episode 19 of season 1. This
I
is
know.
Circus Man.
They're so little.
Yes.
I know.
Well, we're going to talk about that. I mean,
Yeah.
she's adorable.
Yes.
Circus Man premiered February 5th, 1975, written by Ward Hawkins from a story by Preston Wood and Ward Hawkins. It was produced by Ward Hawkins and directed by Victor French, shot by Haskell Boggs.
Buzzy Boggs. Buzzy Boggs. We love Buzzy Boggs.
So, Allison, what's it about?
Well, this guy, I don't know. This guy, there's a lot going
See?
on. There's a lot
I
going
know.
on with this guy. This episode starts out like, oh, it's going to be a ho, 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 ho. And then it gets some serious
it does the
things do
switcheroo
go
on you.
Do
Yeah.
go on, because it's Little House on the Prairie. And so Circus Man welcomes, yes, Academy Award winner Red Buttons. Yes, for Sayonara with Marlon Brando. He comes to Walnut Grove as a lovable, fast-talking drifter. Willie O'Hara, if you please. Yes. Traveling circus
Is he supposed to be
performer
Scottish?
with a
I think he's
gift
supposed to be Scottish.
Sleight of hand.
Oh, no,
Lord.
he's Irish.
He's talking about
Why
the
is he
pixies,
rolling
the
his
pixies
tongue
and
then?
sprites, because he's a
Well,
bad
it's maybe he's sort of musing about, he's sort of conflicted about where the dialect really is, but I'm hearing
He
Irish.
sure is.
It's Irish, but he's doing
I-
a terrible Irish accent. That's the
I
idea.
pinned Scottish.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
so maybe it's
O'Hara, my children.
Our first
So the
controversy. Okay.
yeah, for
Lord,
real.
and
Okay,
then
sorry,
it was
go
started
on.
by his tricks and his menagerie of animals. Well, my lucky charms. Many of the townsfolk became equally captivated by his miracle remedies. Oh, yes. And, of
Yes.
course, to the dismay of Doc Baker. Doc Baker has a big part in this one. I love
He's
Yes, and
on
he's
it.
great
I
in
know.
this.
Love him.
Really good
the
in this
dog
episode.
Gets hard. Jack, her beloved does, and of course, Laura becomes convinced that Willie can. He has magical powers to save Jack. Well, Charles brings Willie back to help his daughter, leading to one of the series' most tender lessons about faith, hope, and honesty. Oh, yes, it's quite the reveal. Quite the reveal. Blending comedy, whimsy, and genuine emotion, Circus Man reminds us, well, a little magic can brighten our lives. True healing comes from love, compassion, and the courage to face the truth. And yeah, a lot goes on in this episode. And then, okay, Red Buttons. Okay, so Sayonara is his Oscar winner. The big. He was in so many movies, and so he had his own show. But I have to. I mean, you can do his whole career, but he was on the Dean Martin roast,
Well,
the whole Fires Club thing.
Never
Back-
got
yeah.
a dinner. Somebody
him.
never got it. It's one of the
Everybody
great
does.
bits.
Yeah.
Ever.
People imitate this all the time. And so he never got a dinner. That's Red Buttons. He is the guy who invented never got a dinner. That was his bit that started.
Have you ever
that
seen this,
on the road.
Pamela?
I've seen parts of that roast, but I haven't seen his bit
The
on
old-
that
I
roast.
mean,
But I've seen
roasts
other
now
bits.
are really dirty. They were kind of
They're
naughty,
harsh.
dirty
He
then, but now they're like really mean.
he got paid this became later in his life, this bit became a big part of his, I think a big part of his career. People paid him huge amounts of money to come to corporate events. I saw him at a corporate event in New York City.
Oh, wow.
Where he absolutely tore the house down doing his never got a dinner bit for the man who was the head of this company that was being honored. And of course, all the things he draws into it are just a riot. He had such a rhythm with this. This was an incredible bit that he had.
What's so funny for me is that I was yesterday years old when I realized that was Red Buttons. I mean, I know Red Buttons and I've seen him in other things, but he was not of my generation growing up. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So for me, seeing him wasn't like, oh, that's Red. It didn't register to me that was him until you were like, let's do this episode with Red Buttons. And I was like, Red Buttons? What? And
I was really little when I used to see him on TV. No, he goes way back.
He goes way back. And I've seen him in tons of things, but it never dawned on me that this was him in this episode. So that was a nice surprise.
So he made up the why is he called
why is he Red Button? Well, his hair is red.
Red hair.
Not a real name. His real name, Aaron Chowat of New York, and he was at one point to make him ends meet a singing bellhop, and had a red uniform and took the name Red Buttons from his character of his singing bellhop.
Oh my goodness.
That's pretty cool.
Love that.
That's pretty cool.
That.
So now, everybody who's watching us today, so we're going to do something a little different today in the way we talk about this episode. If you've been watching the episode and here we are, Pamela, what episode are we in? We're like 100 and...
This is 105?
105. I have it as 104, but 105. Could be 106.
Could 104, 105. Yeah, one of those.
Yeah, we've done a few episodes here. Yeah.
I thought we were going to do 50 originally.
Right. Yeah. So instead of recapping the episode sort of scene by scene, we're going to talk about, we're assuming now, because these episodes are so well known, that you will have probably seen this episode. You know the story. So what we're going to do is talk about our reactions to aspects of the story without feeling like we have to go scene by scene with what goes on in the story.
We'll do the behind the scenes stuff.
Yeah, it's a little more reaction to the events of the, not necessarily to the story, but to things that surround the story. So we'll see. And you'll let us know if you like that approach.
Give us some feedback.
He's a freaking genius, like
yeah, he is. I mean, we can start it off by saying there's a mysterious man we see at the top of this episode who shoots.
Yes, of course.
It's the middle of the night. It seems everyone's asleep, and we see a man in shadow outside of the house who shoots his rifle.
Yeah.
And which wakes up the Ingalls, and they all run out. It's terrifying, quite frankly. I mean, this could be any psycho outside of the prairie.
He's out there in his bare feet, and he's just like, I got a gun. I'm going out in my bare
nightgown.
feet. I mean, I'm like, oh my god, this poor man.
I think what was funny to me is that he hears a shot. He doesn't know where it's coming from. He steps out into the full light. So if someone's there to do them harm, he's like, got a spotlight of.
Sure does.
I mean, this is the necessity of. I mean,
of course.
You have to see it.
I always find it funny the night bedroom scenes because I even last week when we were doing the rival and Laura's sitting in bed and she's having her dream with a perfectly lit spotlight on her face, and I'm thinking, my, that moon glow is very. Very bright.
It's the magic of the moon.
That's it.
Bright, the moonlight.
Yeah.
And I love
so
that
bright.
they're in. First of all, they're in the middle of nowhere. It's not like people are walking by all the time. And then this gunfire breaks out.
Terrifying.
He comes out totally unprotected, like you said, just walks out. I am a target in his bare feet. But then Ma throws the door open because, hey, what's going on?
I know.
Shouldn't she have be hiding with the door?
I know.
Why is she throwing the front door?
Don't
It was one of
know.
those servicing the plot moments where let's all just come out. And this guy is going on about, what was it, a bobcat? Have you ever heard bobcat?
Yes. Yes. He
mentioned
made up
in the
this
show, let alone
story.
scene one. And there's apparently bobcats running in Walnut Grove. And I'm like, oh my God, he is lying so bad. And they're going for this.
He was saying that he saw a bobcat on the property, and also he's driving in his carriage in the middle of the dark. It's very dark. How is he doing it? I don't know. Anyway,
the moon is
fire
coming in
shoots
the
at a
windows of the
apparent
house, but
bobcat.
it's completely pitch black outside.
Yes,
I mean,
it
it's
is.
sort of an interesting. These are contrivances. These are devices
Right,
that are
yeah.
used, but it's
And this would have
Yeah.
been shot indoors. Now, this kind of
Yes, that
nighttime
sequence
shot,
would have been
This
indoors.
is where we had an entire house, an entire barn, and a whole bunch of dirt trucked in and dumped on
Yeah.
the floor of
Right.
the soundstage. So
Right.
you had this
Yeah.
area of big crunchy dirt and a house barn. So you didn't have to. God forbid, I wouldn't have wanted to go to Simi Valley at night. There would have been bobcats and coyotes.
God, it
and
does
God
look
knows
so
what else.
realistic, though. It's
So
really amazing how they
adorable.
were
well,
able to
you know
do
what's
that.
interesting about it, Pamela. When you're working on the stage, of course, that ground is completely flat. And when you're out on the ranch and you come out the front door of the house and you look across the barn,
Bumpy,
it's
yeah.
a sloping
barn's
drop off. I mean, it's a really interesting, and yet the audience I think with so many things like this, and this was the era we were in. You accept those things.
Yeah, of course.
The audience accepts it. Now, I think probably in the, in the new Little House, there isn't, I would be very surprised if there isn't this, if it was night, they shot at night outside. I mean, I'm just sort of having that feeling that that's what happened.
Yeah.
That was not the way Michael made television. That's not the way anybody made television at that point.
With the fabulous world of digital, they also could adjust.
Yes,
camera.
you could
Look
make it. Yes,
dark
you could
now.
make literally do day for night today,
Night,
where
so-
you
and
couldn't
would
have
look
done
good.
that. It was
You could
harder to
back
do
in
it
the
then.
day, they would shoot day for night, but that's what it looked like. You could go, oh, they're shooting day
Yes.
for night. It didn't look right.
Yes.
So they weren't doing. So this guy out of nowhere, and clearly there's something sketchy about the whole thing. But
He's very
as soon as
charming,
they
But he's
but-
very charming. Or
I'm saying that he's
creepy,
from a
Pamela, as you said.
bobcat, and
He's a
I was
little
just looking,
creepy.
for a place to stay, and they're like, sure, and I'm like, really?
I know, very trusting. So the audience knows that this guy is lying, that there was no bobcat, and that he just actually, this whole thing was a plot to get a place to sleep that night.
Yes.
And hook, line, and sinker, Pa fell for it. Happy, sleep in the shed, in the barn, you're good.
I'm surprised they didn't bring him in the house. I mean, they were
I
just
know.
like, la, 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 la. Thank God, at least they put him in the Saudi. So. Oh.
And the girls are quite excited. Oh, he's a circus man. He has his
Right.
own
He has his own
personalized
little
circus
a small
wagon.
but excellent little circus.
Yes.
Now that crow, he has a talking crow that the girls
He
are
sure
passing.
does.
And that crow, I do believe it is the same crow that Kezia, I think we kept the same crow in
A show crow.
The show
It's
crow.
a
I
show
think that
crow.
was a recurring regular because later Kezia, remember Kezia and her big old
That
talking
crow's-
You know,
I
it's
am
the same damn crow. He was a
is
working
insane.
crow, big career, on the show several times, a recurring.
The crow
And for
came
the
and went
record,
from the
crows-
vortex, and
It came back.
Yes.
Came back from the vortex,
That's
which is a
just like
rarity.
people who come on the show and play 3-4 different people. It was that crow had
Yeah.
a gig.
That's so funny. And
Mr.
just for the record,
He was
Crow-
Mr. Poe in this one.
Very nice
that's
literary
clever.
reference, boys and girls. He's
Get
a-
it? I
And Paul
know.
even says he's a raven, refers to him as a raven, not a crow. So get your little
And for the records, they can't talk. But anyway, it's fine. They can talk in this episode because he's Mr. Magic Circus Man.
Yes.
Maybe he's
the
really a
girls-
minor bird. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. The girls are loving that this guy is here. They run out in the morning to meet him.
Pixies.
He's
Yeah.
very
Pixies.
This is when I was like, oh, he's a little creepy. 'cause
Oh,
he's
do I
so
see
very?
pixies?
It's just a little. It was just one notch above what I wanted it to be.
But that's
All right. So
fair
now,
because-
how did you watch this with your daughter?
Yes.
So what did she
She
think?
loved it. She had no problem with
She
it
had no
whatsoever.
creepy vibe for her.
That's
Well, that's
me
That's
dated
it too.
me.
But it's Red Buttons. Again, Red Buttons, genius. Never got a dinner.
no,
Red
and he's
Buttons.
also charismatic and charming and
Yeah.
and everything.
All
And
that.
he's also, but he's playing it because he is a big fat liar. Which is one of the
He's a
things
big
about
fat
story.
liar.
And
Yes.
he is being Red Button's genius, doing the charming. Oh, aren't you little pixies? And where are your wings? But he is also doing an undercurrent of do we
That's right.
trust this guy? So yes, you are supposed to, as the adult, go. Hey, this guy a little creepy.
Something's a little,
I think
yeah,
we
a
did
little.
that on purpose.
Yeah.
I
I would venture to say that is true. Yes.
I think both Laura, this is season 1, sort of, back
They're
near
so
the end of
adorable.
season 1, both Laura and Mary are absolutely adorable in this. I mean,
So
Melissa Sue Anderson's eyes have always blown me
Stunning,
away. The blue
ridiculous.
eyes, just and Laura was so sweet. That little voice, that sort of just lovely.
we haven't done a season 1 episode in a while, and she came out on that screen, and I went, "Oh my gosh, no! Of course she's Laura Ingalls. Like, of course she's just perfect.
Yeah,
Her
she is.
look, her sensibility, her sort of, I don't know, her energy. It's just
All of it.
right.
All of
So
it.
perfect.
Where Laura will believe stuff, and that's one of the running things in this, people believing.
Yes.
things. So her eyes, when she's just like, yes, but this is true, but this is true. She believes everything this guy's saying.
Yes.
It's her trust. Can we talk about do we talk about the chimp a little
Yeah,
bit?
sure. Let's talk
Yes.
about the chimp.
Well, he has this great big sign that he's got like King Kong in there, the Congorilla or some insane thing he's made up with a big picture of this
Congrilla.
gorilla.
Congrilla.
And of course the thing goes
Clever.
and there's a baby chimp going. So ha ha ha, he's got a baby chimp. It's not a girl, but that baby chimp. Now again, we had very very well trained animals on our show. Really really top animal trainers. So nobody died. But chimps, as we now know, today
This was my
in
first
world,
thought. Yes.
are inherently dangerous. They are wild animals. They are wild animals. And even the most trained chimp who seems to love you will grow up to be a wild animal, as many people have discovered the hard way. Baby chimps are very trusting, and because humans and gorillas and chimps are all, in the same, we're all cousins kind of thing, they will take to humans as maybe you're another, you might be another chimp. I don't know yet. I'm a baby chimp. So that's why you'll see very, very young chimps. When you see film and TV and you see all these chimps endlessly in all these movies, and I used to love Lancelot Link's Secret Chimp when I was a child. I used to watch that show every Saturday morning. They're usually like, I don't know, a year, 2. They're very young because they'll still do the clap in the hands thing and go, and they can pick them up and they're fine. And then they get bigger. And an adult chimpanzee, strength, as they say, of 10 men or more, and then once it goes through, puberty, chimp puberty, come on, it is a grown-up chimp. They don't want to play. They don't want to do clappy hands. They don't want to play with people. They now know they're a chimp. That they are not a human. They are something else. They get it. And they're not really very fun. And that's why when people who've had chimps, either as pets or as trained as film, as soon as they hit a certain age, if they are decent persons, they go to a chimp sanctuary in a large nature preserve with many, many other chimps. Because once again, can't release them in the wild because they've been raised by humans. And
That's
all
right.
that. But they can go to a place. There are places where it's just chimps, and they have the run of an enormous, like, little mini jungle, and they are left to be chimps with other chimps, and it's great. The problem is when people have tried to keep a really, 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 really cute baby chimp too long. Because then it becomes, much like keeping that cute baby lion or that baby tiger, And there have been multiple horrible, tragic incidents involving death and injury from grown-up chimps. And people are
that
much more
woman whose
careful now.
face was eaten off by a chimp has permanently changed. Every time I see a chimp on a TV show or film, I'm always like, "Oh no, this is
That
not good."
chimp tore the door off a police car, pulled car door off of a car. I mean, that's the level of strength. What are you gonna? And that's the thing, people don't realize this. And they're more cautious now. Like now, Wonderful World of CGI.
I would hope so.
Probably would not have had that chimp anywhere near the children.
Yeah.
Baby chimp. Nowadays, we'd be like,
And even Pa is like rubbing its head like it's one of his kids. He handled that chimp the same way he would handle one of his kids,
And
right?
probably
Like
that
the way he was
particular-
touching it, and oof.
And I'm sure that trainer was the best in the game.
I'm sure.
That particular chimp, we only had the finest trained animals on our show, was probably super chill and super fine. But I'm sure 2 years later he was at some chimp reserve swinging from a vine because now. And I think now they would probably say, let's shoot this way. Like when we had the orangutan on the show. Oh my God.
Right. Yeah, that was,
Now they would
yes.
shoot it like
All roads
the
lead to
animal, now
Blanche,
let's shoot the
yes.
kids, and we'll just make it work because yikes, it's just
You know, there was a docu-series on HBO, you know, Tiger King
Yes.
came
Oh,
out.
God, what an awful
and-
series that was.
horrible.
I just
And then a
hated
few
that.
years later, they did one about these chimp owners. And it's supposed to be brilliant and, you know, funny and also not funny at all, but about, you know, people who keep chimps.
Wild
and
animals
I
are
just
cute.
I could not bring myself to watch it because I knew what was in store. And I just went, I know this is also supposed to be funny, but I don't know if I can handle it.
Okay, I'm
Because
friends with
there's
Tippy.
nothing
Tippy
funny about
Hedren,
it.
and you know she's got
Yeah, she has their bird sanctuary, right?
Well, the lion sanctuary.
The lions and the
sanctuary.
Wait,
There's
she has a
lions
lion?
and
I thought it was
tigers
just
and-
birds.
That's what she's most known
known
for,
for
I
the
think, is the
birds.
lion
Oh,
thing.
I'm
She has a
thinking
big
of
sculpture.
Sandra D. Who am I
No,
thinking
Tippy
of? Who has
Hedren
a
was in the
bird
birds, but she has.
No,
and
I
she has
know.
a
I'm thinking of
sculpture.
another
Who keeps the
golden
bird?
era
But Tippy, she
person.
does have a sculpture of a playground jungle gym with birds on it, and she totally she wears the bird pin. She totally into it.
Own
she
it,
totally
baby.
embraces the whole bird thing. But she it's a rescue for. People had roadside circuses.
Yeah,
with,
it's
like, a little
terrible.
lion cage, or people who tried to keep these animals as pets. Sometimes there were decent folk who tried to keep the baby lions on a farm, and then they got older and couldn't take it go, and so she takes them. And other times, terrible stories of animal abuse that she and her staff have told me about were like wowzers, where she
Louise.
literally rescued these animals. The police came one day, and when they took them, they said, okay, we know where to put the dogs and cats. What do we do with the panther that they had locked up in the apartment? And they called Tippy. I said, bring him over. And she has this enormous place up in Acton, Shambhala, and I mean, it is huge. And these lions and tigers and panthers and bobcats, etc., have a lot of room and are incredibly well taken care of. And she said, they can't go back to the wild. They were never in the wild. They were born in captivity.
Right.
They
Yeah,
were
of
raised
course.
in captivity. Some of them were badly abused. They are not normal kitty cats. So they are taken care of there, where they're allowed to be with other, you know, lions and tigers and their little friends. And they're fed really well. And the people there, but they're not really on display. If you take a tour, you may walk through, and she will say, and this is so and so, and this is where it's on. They will explain it to you. But no, you don't go up to that fence. As she said, you don't put your fingers through the thing. And she said, anything on that side of the fence is theirs. And they are clearly wild, and they are clearly, but they are able to play and live out their lives in peace. And they don't do no tricks. But she has to rescue them because they can't. And some of the story she has about these poor animals is dreadful. So, yeah, animals in these kind of situations, they're really, like many people, they're really cute when they're young, but not so much later. It's not a good thing. It's not.
Well, yes, if you're contemplating a normally wild, historically wild animal for a pet, really think twice about that. You do not want to be going down that road.
Won't like
Anybody,
it. You won't
frankly.
You won't like it.
'Cause I want to jump into the next scene. We always see at Hanson's Mill. So this is where we start to set up. And here we're going scene by scene. Don't mean to be doing this, but this struck me. It always strikes me when I watch Pa at the mill with the circular saw, with no guard, with and he's
I know.
sawing
It
like
scares me every time.
He's sawing like some 2x6 or some, maybe it's like it's maybe a 1x6, but his hands are right there on either side of that blade, and that blade is up, highly visible. Normally, if you were cutting something like that in an adjustable saw, which the saw was, it was an electric saw, but of course we are led to believe it's the mill driving it. That blade would be lowered so it was not much higher than the wood it was cutting. You would not let that blade be exposed like that. So many things could go wrong with that saw. It's just like, it's really anxiety provoking to see.
Agreed. Every single time he's on that darn saw, I get a little panicky for sure. I mean, no matter what episode it is, it's so...
Now, it's dangerous what he's doing.
Regulation.
It's cutting the wood. It's real. And yes, there's a motor under it, but we're like saying, well, the water. And in real life, the water
What a
would have
gear
been
system that is.
Gears and belts, and it would have gone, it would have absolutely been going at that pitch.
But anyway,
Yeah,
but in the, so that's just sort of the setup of the scene. But what
Yeah.
we have in that sequence now, once that starts, is the 3 successive moments that establish what the challenge of the episode is.
Yeah.
The real challenge. So Hanson's headache, then we have Hanson's headache, Willie's broken ribs in the middle of the night, and then
broken
the secret of the, is it shaman powder
From India,
Yes.
magic
From
powder
India?
From India.
that
And
so
it tastes good, surprisingly.
yeah, so it's I'm
relieves
thinking
your
it's
stomach
Alka-Seltzer.
Yeah, basically, he said it's bicarbonated
With sugar.
sugar and everything.
Yeah.
It's a fizzy drink, and that's why
Yeah.
everyone goes, "Gee, my stomach feels so much better."
So yeah, so we establish right up those 3 things. So we know that there's Hanson, someone's sick. Willie cures himself and establishes
ribs.
this powder, and this is where
And the
the episode
fake-out.
turns around
Right.
this reality.
Fake
I
out
also-
with the ribs is hilarious. Where some people attacked me and apparently didn't steal
Yeah,
anything.
right.
And there's this huge ruckus in the thing. I have broken ribs again. They're in the middle of nowhere. They're not even in
middle.
town in Walnut
Yep.
Grove.
Yep.
Marauding bands of buggers roaming the absolute middle
First
of nowhere.
bobcats,
countryside.
then bandits. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
bandits who didn't steal the horses, who didn't steal his mules, who didn't try to break
Just
into
broke
the
his
house.
ribs. Yeah.
Just stab it, and then break this old guy's rib. And it's like it's the worst fake out of a mugging ever. And they're like, oh,
And they buy it hook, line, and sinker. I also want to give a shout out to Doc Baker and
Okay.
Hanson, because especially in season 1, the 2 of them really establish themselves as sort of being the old established friends with a history
yeah,
in this
you get
town together. Their sort of bickering but pleasant relationship that Pa's always sort of in the middle of, which
Right.
is really lovely to
Yes.
see. But Doc is like, you have a headache, let me check you. And Hanson refuses. I've taken medicine. You've given me medicine for it. Doesn't work. I don't want, you can't find anything wrong with me. And Doc Baker is very adamant that he please get checked out. At one point in the episode, and this is a little later, but we'll get to it, but at one point he does say, your bot, and this is why Doc Baker is so ahead of his time. I mean, even to this day, some doctors don't say what Dr. Baker said in this episode, which is, the pain is not the problem. The pain is a symptom of something else that is going on in your body. Your body is telling you
Right.
something is wrong.
Pain
You
is a
have to
message.
see a doctor. And my God, if we don't need more of that in our medical industry today, it's really incredible that he said that in this episode.
And he's trying to tell Hanson, we don't know why you have a headache. I mean, the guy could have a brain tumor. We don't know what's going on.
Exactly.
The poor guy's had a headache for weeks. And he's like, but you wouldn't come into the office, for God's sakes. Yeah.
And nice playing of the headache too, by the way. I mean, he's got, you really sort of feel like the tension
I
in
felt
his
it.
in the
Yes,
front of
yes.
his head and his eyes,
He's
and he's
so
the light.
natural.
Yeah, he did it really
Hanson.
well, I think.
What was his name? What was his name in the actor's
Carl
name that
Svensson.
played Hanson?
Carl
Yes,
Svensson,
yes,
yeah.
yes. He
Yeah,
is so
yeah.
natural. You have to remind yourself that he's acting because you just believe that this is this guy.
Yeah, and he's a really nice actor.
Yeah.
He's super,
I know
super trained
Karen
in
Grassley
everything.
loved him. She always talks about his
Well, and
her
that,
favorite
and
person.
and talking about Doc Baker and Mr. Hanson, and then also Reverend Alden when you fold that in. But these
Yeah,
two
yeah,
guys, these two guys really are the core of this town. I mean,
I know.
they are the constants that are present. They establish the tone of the sort of the moral tone of the I mean, the Ingalls are the carriers of goodness, but they are supported by the overall goodness of these two guys at the core of the community. And I think they both were, and they have this wonderful, and Nels too, to a certain, at different times, they have this sort of
The
bickering,
banter. Yeah.
it's
great.
thing that goes on between them,
This
which is really
season-
entertaining.
yeah. This
Season
is
one.
season 1. They just got started, and you
Yeah.
believe that these people have
They've known each other for years,
20,
yeah.
30
Yep.
years easily. And they
Also,
probably worked together on other stuff. But you
Doc in
absolutely
this-
believe this.
Doc in this episode is absolutely rocking the 1975 hair.
Yeah.
Which is the long sort of, probably
Cock's kinda hot.
was a hippie, but sort of maybe coming out of that era now.
Yeah.
His hair is really long.
Yeah.
It's so funny. I was like, okay, Doc Baker.
I love Doc Baker in this one. This is the Doc Might Be Kind of Hot episode because he really takes a stand. He's like, no, you guys have all lost it. Mrs. Olson's doing. He's like, no, this is not good. People could have serious illnesses
Yes.
and be taking the dumb powders and
That's right.
die. This is
Well, and this obviously is the yin and the yang in the episode, is that you have this guy who is living in this sort of world of entertainment and fantasy and make believe, and isn't it the wonder of a miracle, and then you have Doc Baker, that counterpoint, talking about how
Right, so
dangerous this can be, and this is the
Yeah.
bounce back and forth throughout.
Because
the
everyone
episode.
is now starting to buy into this magical powder.
Because it's
that he
easy.
has.
It's like, of course you want to be cured instantly.
And Catherine.
And if his ribs were healed in just 24 hours, my God, what else could
Yes.
it do?
And
Exactly.
Catherine McGregor in this episode, who apparently the whole thing is Miss Dole has a freaking appendicitis, which like in the 1800s you just
die.
You died of appendicitis.
Yeah.
It's a miracle if they could get the surgery in time. And people died of that. It was like, wow, if you could get the surgery and they could do it right and you didn't die of appendicitis, it's like, woo, it's a big
Yeah.
She did a wonderful job playing the symptoms that warmed up to this. You know, there's like, she's just a little perspiry and she's dabbing herself and she's carrying herself very carefully. And I think she was pretty terrific in this. And she went back and forth between being a little willful as always, but vulnerable. There was a really nice vulnerability that she had in this, particularly as she's sort of faced with the ultimate choice that she has to make, and the setup for it is really good.
Totally.
We'll get to that, but I want to just, let's see.
But I love the eternal question when it's an episode like this where Doc Baker is so awesome.
He's
eternal question of, is Doc Baker hot? That's
See?
the question.
See?
Wait a minute. Is
I
Doc
think in
Baker
this-
hot?
because
So-
she's standing up for science. I don't know.
Yeah, that's hot. It is
Yeah.
hot standing up for science. Yes.
It's he has a very grounded quality about him.
Yeah,
I
always.
think he always has that. He's got, as a doctor playing the doctor, he's got great bedside manner. He's got, and in this case, they've set him up. It's been written to give him this urgency on people dealing with what's going on with them.
Right.
And so that really becomes is the well, I've said it 5 times. It is the major thing in the episode.
And he calls out the con because everyone goes, well, wait a minute.
Right.
He's giving
Right.
it away.
Right.
He's
Yep.
giving
Nope.
it away. And he goes,
Yeah.
you people.
like, it's
Of course,
impossible.
Now
Yes.
he's giving it away. And then when they all tell everyone, of course he's going to have a line. He's going to charge. Don't you get it? Like Doc Baker's
Yeah.
going, this is the oldest trick in the book. Where have you people been?
Yeah.
Well, and Mrs. Olson it gets in on the indignity as well, because her medicines that don't do anything
Medicines.
are being you're flim-flamming people, and we've got legitimate medicines, none of which really work.
Not really.
But we're in business doing this, and you're just
Right.
sort of like drifting in and taking our customers, and we don't really like that. I love when he picked up the anvil. Now, who believes that anvil was real?
Not I.
No. Although I have to say, Margot did. It was very sweet watching this with Margot because,
He's really strong. Did Margot say he's really strong?
well, no, there was one point where I forgot where it was. I forgot which point it was, but she was going, no, but his ribs were, the powder cured his ribs. And I went, do you think they really cured his ribs? What do you think, Margot? Do you think they really did? Or do you think maybe, and she just went, like she gasped and put her hand over her mouth and just went, and then realized, oh my gosh, he's lying about it. It was very sweet.
You're
Her
talking about
realization.
Laura. He's a little Laura Ingalls.
She was a little Laura watching
Oh,
this.
Margot is a little Laura Ingalls for sure.
She is actually, yeah.
I mean,
she
my
is.
God.
She has that spirit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, totally. I looked at him, picked that up. It's interesting and I think he endowed it with a certain amount of weight, but these are actor things that
handle.
that drive you crazy. It's like when someone picks up an empty suitcase and know it's empty.
It's not weighted. Yeah.
Yeah. And
you know what gets me? Julie Andrews, Sound of Music. She's singing, I have confidence in... And she has her guitar case that she's swinging around and twirling around. And I'm going, there's no guitar in there. You can't do that if there's a heavy instrument in that case. There is no... It bothers me every time.
And
anyway, continue.
But it was interesting. It was interesting to me it's like when you... It looked like it was wood or something as I'm looking at it closely. But an anvil like that, at that size, that anvil would have easily weighed close to, if not a little more than 100 pounds.
Yes.
And
you're going to lift an anvil? I'm not lifting an anvil.
Yeah,
there's
I
no
bet it would
way
be even more
he
than 100
picked that
pounds.
up and held it for a length of time. But these are things that happen. Like
He's a magic man, though.
What's that? Yeah, he's a magic.
He's a magic man.
Yeah, he's a magic man. I mean, this is the kind of stuff like Karen Grassley did not like the wooden eggs. This was a big deal for her, the wooden eggs. She wanted real eggs, and this drove Michael crazy and drove the prop people crazy. She said they just put the wooden eggs in, endow them with whatever you want, but she insisted on carrying real eggs because she knew that she would carry them differently.
Yeah.
And I mean,
she would handle them differently.
Go home, fill a basket with real eggs, walk around your yard a couple times, go, oh, right, and then do that.
And bring that. So yeah. But that was a big deal.
So just to explain, there was a scene in this where
a lot of eggs.
Red Buttons, she's trying to get the eggs out of the pen, and there aren't that many. And he's like, what about this? And he goes in and he pulls out several eggs. And, ooh, there's one in his pocket. And, ooh, there's one behind Charles's ear. And they're, how'd he do that? But I was curious about those eggs because they were brown eggs, but they weren't the color of an actual brown egg. They were wood,
eggs, I'm sure.
and she had a problem with that, and I get it. So
then he's going, here's some eggs, and putting them in her basket, and it's like, and those are you putting fake eggs in my basket.
Yeah, right.
He's got to go to market. And he's giving...
So her asking for real eggs, they didn't just do it. Like, why did they put up a fight about? They just thought she was being silly, and like, come on, just do it.
Just get on
just
with
do
it. Is the Yeah, I think that was in the expedient production schedule that we had, and that knowing that eggs were going to come up constantly. Dean Wilson, wonderful prop man, had all these wooden eggs, and they were painted, and everything was, and that's what they wanted to do. And Karen really pushed back on that, and I only brought that up because this is like the anvil. Now in post audio. They put in the sound of the metal touching the ground when he put it down. You got the little, you got a metallic bang, but I just don't think it sounded that way when it hit the ground.
Yeah. No, it
when he put it back for real.
Totally, and Catherine's total incredulousness, where at first she's being very, well, and I have my talking tonics, and but then,
that we sell.
Really,
yeah, so she's ready to listen.
She buys into it too.
You see her eyes as she starts, and she just goes into the, it's an incredible, again, Victor French is directing, Catherine's on her game, and her turning into this incredulous person, like,
so good in these situations.
I could do that, yes, maybe. It's like, wowzers.
Well, the thing that he's good at is that he actually isn't pushing this on anyone. No. He's not being that gross salesman that people would think
just gives it
are
away.
Like that snake oil salesman type energy or behavior. He just sort of leads by example, and the people are coming to him for this thing.
Right.
He's really figured that out for himself on how this whole scheme works.
It is an Irish technique. My father, who was Irish extracted, when he at one point the thing says, well, no, it's not lying. It's just sort of, it's some of the blarney. I'm like, I know that's one well. It's not really lying, it's blarney, or it's sales tactics. And I saw my father just, even a garage sale, he couldn't let it go. The big one was like, oh no, You don't want that. No, it's not for you.
Oh, just reverse psychology.
Yes. I want that.
And that's why he was a successful manager, baby. That's why.
They had to have it. Oh, it's not for you. No, it's not. I'm taking it off the table.
Can we talk about this accent, please?
Of course
Because
it's wrong.
I was
It's all
very
wrong.
yeah, but I was very sure he was trying to do a Scottish accent because all of the r, the r, the
Is he rolling his R's?
he was absolutely doing the Scottish brogue, the
thought he was
rolling of the
talking-
R's and.
I thought he sounded like the cartoon leprechaun in the Lucky Charms commercial.
But if he was doing Irish, then the R's would have been more har 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 har, that kind of R
Yeah,
instead of
that's
the r's R. So
Well,
I
maybe
thought,
it was
he's
just
just
like his
he's
accent
doing a
sucked.
bad Outlander. Because that's my Scottish accent reference.
Oh my God!
So you
I
both
mean-
think it was Irish? I cannot
Okay,
accept
so
that
and
was
maybe
trying
look,
to do an Irish
maybe
accent.
it's so like mixed up that he could have been bouncing back and forth between
He
the
could
two.
have been, or just mixing both
Yeah.
together.
We do establish later in the episode that yes, he is faking. So
Yeah, that he's
Right.
he's a New Yorker.
Right? Is
I
he
mean, what
even
you
from?
find it-
Yes, he's a New
Yeah,
Yorker.
I'm sorry, Laura.
Oh,
I'm
that's
sorry,
that's
Laura,
the
about
hidden
the
story.
about the
That-
powders, Joe.
That is a story I can believe, that he's actually from Brooklyn and he put on this accent to be mysterious and lovely and leprechaun-y.
Well, he explains
yet
all that.
also
He explains
not
all of that
leprechaun-y.
wonderfully. Look, so I think we should take a little break right here
Okay.
because I
Okay.
think this is the story really turns after this.
Okay.
This where she gets the powder from him,
Yes.
or when she agrees, she decides she wants the powder. There's the big turn is coming. Let's take a little break.
We'll be right back.
The Little House on the Prairie 50th Anniversary podcast is presented in part by VisitSeneValley.com. In the movie and television capital of the world, Simi Valley is the television home of the OG Little House on the Prairie television series, and people come to Simi Valley from all over the world to feel the Little House love. Simi Valley is the home of the Ronald Reagan Presidential Library, celebrating the legacy of an iconic American who embodied the can-do spirit of California. Visit Simi Valley, a warm, friendly community that knows how to make their guests feel welcome. Accessible and affordable, Simi Valley is a great place to live and a great place to start your next California adventure. Simi Valley is hometown America in the Los Angeles Basin. For more information about your Simi Valley visit, go to visitsemivalley.com.
And we're back. Okay, it starts to turn here. What happens next?
So, all right, Doc Baker, once he hears that Mrs. Olson is in for the powder, he is flying out to the Olson. But I didn't realize Kevin did his own driving. He drove that carriage up. You see it's him. He drives in and he confronts to Willie, and he says, "You've got to come with me. You've got to tell Mrs. Olson." So they go to town
Yes.
together.
What is it? His best line: "A fake remedy is as dangerous as a loaded gun."
That's it, baby.
Yeah, exactly.
Baker's
So they
so
sit down,
awesome.
and he agree. You can see. So this is not a bad man.
Yeah, because he knows what he's doing. Yes.
He
knows.
knows
And
that
he
he's
knows
doing a thing, and he explains why he's doing the thing later. But he comes along, and he's going to help convince Mrs. Olson that she needs to get this surgery.
Yeah,
and it's
he
a
has a
wonderful scene
conscience.
where he plays right into Mrs. Olson's love of flattery.
Brilliant.
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 This is an Emmy nomination. She should have been nominated for Emmy.
She was
for
wonderful in this
freaking-
scene, and he
Because
was
she's
too.
she's ill. She is about to get a burst appendix any second now, and she's in her bed and in bad shape, and he comes in and she still doesn't want the surgery. He gives her the powder. She's thinking, okay, great, and then he finishes it with, okay, and now you're going to be all set for your surgery, and she freaks out again. Listen, he's doing the right thing.
Yes.
This is a conflicting character because he is a liar and he is a con man, yet he's also
He's a
has
lovable
conscience.
liar and con man.
He's a lovable liar.
No, sir.
He's not going to let her die. Right.
Right.
Oh, when he starts going, oh, you don't want to be included with royalty, and starts going, what do you say? And the Princess Elmira of Italy.
That's right.
Yeah, I love that.
Queen Victoria had this
Queen
surgery.
Victoria and Princess Elmira of Italy.
And you
Yes.
don't want to be amongst the ranks of the small handful of royalty that have had this surgery,
ladies
which
who wear the crown
Brilliant.
and the jewels and live in, and he's going, and live in castle, and Mrs. L's going, her eyes.
All right.
And she's literally crying. She's literally crying in this.
So,
Got her.
all right, we get that moment. And then what we're led to believe is that Doc Baker does this operation
I know.
right there in the
I
bedroom.
know.
With all the town, when did this become a spectator sport? Why are the townspeople gathered in front of her door? She's having an appendectomy. Let's all go.
Well, I guess having a surgery is a big deal, but your little town country doctor actually performing the surgery, she doesn't go to Mankato or
No,
this is the first
she
time I was
wouldn't
like,
have survived
Doc Baker does surgery? Holy moly.
And apparently
in her bedroom, not even in his office. He's doing it
Not
in
yet.
her bedroom.
Not even in.
No help. There's no sterilization.
No
is like,
sanitation,
this is really,
sterilization.
we're taking a big jump here. All right, he does the surgery. He comes out. He looks
the
like
germs.
he's been, he's been ridden hard
At
and put
war.
away wet. I mean, he
Yes.
is wiped out as he comes
Yes.
out of this thing. But she's going to be
He
fine.
was a little hot in that.
She's going to be fine,
Doc
but
Baker
he is
hot?
still concerned that this guy, that Willie O'Hara, is still out there with his cures, and
Yep.
more bad things are going to happen.
And he's right.
Yes.
He's
Someone,
right.
he says, Doc Baker to Charles, someone's going to have to talk to him about
Wink,
this.
wink, nudge, nudge.
One
Yes.
of us is going, and of course, these are the moments that Michael did, and they have the conversation. Michael
course-
comes back, finds them with the chimp, and they have a conversation about the truth telling of all of this.
And he's like,
With the rolly R's too.
But then
Yeah.
the dog, like in modern parlance, gets hit by a car, runs in front of the wagon, saves
sad.
the day. Oh no, what are you gonna do? And Laura is freaking devastated. He's flipping out, the poor dog, poor Jack the dog. And she's like, paw, paw, and he's like, ay, 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 ay. And she's like, if I had the magic powers, and he goes and gets the crazy man and brings him back.
Yeah,
And
Pa's
brings it-
into this dude. He's into
But-
him.
But it's conditioned. Although I think that doesn't really does it happen
Well,
on
Pa
camera
thinks
where
he's
where
gonna-
Charles says you have to tell her the truth.
Have to tell her the
Yes.
truth. You could come
He
back
thinks
and
that's
tell
what
her
he's
the truth.
doing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Come back
Yeah.
and straighten this out.
Yeah, and he comes in, and I think this is a wonderfully nuanced scene that's written here where he's explaining himself and what he can do and what he can do, and it's what is it? What's the Lord the good Lord willing is the
Good
sort
Lord
of
willing.
becomes
Good
the
Lord willing.
the hook. So he's giving it over,
Just a
and he's
little
just
for a
giving
little
people
dog.
hope.
And it's a different
Yeah.
dosage, because it's a doggy, it's not a person. So he's he's got all the qualifiers. He's,
So
And then Ma and Pa seem real irritated because
Right.
after he does this with the dog and with Laura, Pa
Right.
takes him outside and is like, "That I did not bring you here to
yeah,
give the
you
dog the
didn't
remedy."
tell her. You have to tell her.
And I love when he said, I didn't see you jumping up when she was hugging you and thanking you for bringing me back, jumping up to tell her the truth, did I? And admits it's like, yeah, when she went, Pa, you're my hero, I love you, you brought him back. He's like, yeah, and you didn't tell her, yeah, because now you were the hero, so you were going to take that moment. You didn't bust out on that either, did ya?
Well, and then
yeah.
Pa realizes that had the dog not survived and had Pa not let him get the special remedy and then the dog would have died, Laura would have blamed him
Forever.
that's the
Never.
reason why the dog died. So if the dog dies after having the remedy,
Right.
then we know
Right. Then,
But
but then
he's
everyone did their best,
And he brings up hope, and that's big. Little
yes,
Husband
I think
Christine. Hope.
that's the key point. How would you want to take away the hope that she has? We don't know what's
know.
going to happen with the dog, but
Yeah.
can't she have the hope?
He's
This is a
gonna
very
suffer.
nuanced thing that he's doing
she's
here?
going to be waiting, and she's going to, the dog's going to get better, the dog's not going to get better. But while she's waiting, she could be completely terrified and miserable, or have hope for those
Yes.
great moments.
Yes. Okay, so when Jack wakes up, look, it's such a sweet moment. And Laura pitches to O'Hara that you could replace Doc Baker. No one would ever get sick. No one would ever die.
We'll all live forever.
Yes, we'll all live forever. And this is then what follows now is the moment where O'Hara admits that nothing about him is real, including his accent. It all drops away. He did a great job dropping the accent. Why do you fool people? She asks him, and O'Hara did it. This is such an honest thing. He did it to make himself feel important. He did. He didn't have anything in his life. He needed to feel like he had some value.
Maybe they'd be beholden to maybe a little better, a little wiser. But when he drops the accent, it's almost terrifying. And he does go to New York, because remember, that is where he's actually from.
Yep.
When he was Aaron back in the day. He is a kid from like Brooklyn. So when he drops it and goes, nothing is real about me. Not the way I talk, not the way I talk, Laura, get the powders. And I mean, he just goes, thunk. I mean, he drops the whole thing instantly like a hot rock. And what a performance. Because he goes, what do you see, dear? Okay, none of this is real.
This is why they hired him.
Yeah,
this is why Michael went to Red Button.
Well, he's also so charming. I mean, when I say he's creepy, it's just because, we know he's lying from the very beginning. And you're automatically put at ill ease by this, and the fact that Charles still likes him after even knowing that he's lying is also like, what? Wait, what are you? Okay, but I guess he's charming, and again, he's not a bad man.
No,
which
he
is
knows
very,
he's
very
not a bad
clear.
man.
He's
He
not
knows
evil.
he's not a bad man.
But that is like a bucket of cold water on poor Laura, and then her face, the little teeny itty bitty baby face, and she is just crying. She's like, no, this part. She's still kind of go, but this part's real. This part. He's like, nope, especially the powders. Oh,
It's like waking up from being in a cult. It's like when you realize that everything you just dedicated yourself to is all a lie.
So there was
did
something
it so convincingly.
Yeah, I think there was something. So this is one of the moment here. I absolutely had a tear in my eye at the end of this scene. There's just something primal in these scenes where there is such honesty, and we recognize the audience at any age recognizes the honesty of what's being shared here. And I think this is the glue that puts people in the Little House world. This is what the show, this is at its core what the show was about.
Another
is these
show
moments.
Would have sugarcoated it, and would have, like, when he leaves in the night, not just had the wee ones, and well, he had to go. Circus folk, they're different. When he was talking about that, I kept thinking of my parents. They might just leave any time. When they want to travel, they just go. And I'm going, how many times did we move when I was a kid? Yes, show folk.
Yeah.
And he's like, I thought other shows that would have been it. The music would have gone diddly diddly do, and he would have left. And that mysterious man. I wonder if he was telling the truth or not. On Little House, we get the no. It's not real. It's not true. The powders are not real. I am not real. The voice, and he tells the truth. And we find out, yes, it's a lovely illusion, and he meant to give you hope, but some stuff just ain't real, kids.
Yeah.
And come to the real world with us, and here's how it is. And
Well,
wowzers.
Well, and look at the.
What part gave you a teary eye, Dean?
Well, I just think it was I think it was the honesty of that back and forth, and then out the front door, he's sort of dejected. He's getting on his wagon, and Charles says, if you're ever, where you going? And I'm just wherever the road takes me. Well, if you're ever back this way, come by. Come by, because we'd like to see you. I mean, what we get is there's redemption.
Yeah.
There is forgiveness. That he knows he's a good man. There's a goodness in this man, and he's flawed, like we're all flawed. And Charles, this family, gave him the opportunity to show his humanity in a way that he probably hadn't had a chance to show his humanity in a long time. And what was cool, and I love the way the way Victor shot this last this last scene. So they talk, and Michael invites him, or Charles invites him to come back, and immediately the act comes back because he's an entertainer.
I'll be back.
And it's okay to be the entertainer, and he gives his bowler a little tap, and he drives off, and we're back behind the little house in this wide shot, and Pa walks forward into the beautiful yard as the circus man's wagon heads for the hill to climb up, and we've got this wonderful cue from David Rose, this sort of Irish jig thing happening.
Love the music.
And it's just it's lovely, It's just a lovely ending. I think this is not this episode. The lesson of this episode is not an obvious lesson. But there's definitely a lesson about hope and about. I mean, so I'm just gonna. We have something. I have something here, and then we need to jump out. But Willie O'Hara brings laughter, imagination, and delight wherever he goes. The episode celebrates the childlike joy of believing that the world can still hold surprises. Life is richer when we leave room for wonder. Yes. We have to be realistic about it.
Yeah.
There are limits.
Get the surgery.
But we need, need to be able to dream. And I think this is at all ages we need to be able to dream, and we do.
Hope. And giving someone hope is an act of mercy and kindness.
Yes,
and
yes.
Doc Baker's right. No, you can't be faking somebody. Could get hurt here. It's all fun and games till somebody needs an appendix out. But then he still offers the hope and yes, have the surgery. You'll be like the queen. And he knows he talk about meeting people where they are. He meets Mrs. Olsen where she is.
There you go.
He says, but there's hope. And yes, he's kind of doing that sugarcoating things, but to give someone hope when you're in a period where it doesn't make any difference where it's like the poor dog, if dog's good or not, why can there not be hope? You can have a positive view and hope for the best and have the optimistic view. That is a choice that you can have.
Yes. And that's what makes the episode so important, and Willie O'Hara is the conduit to that. Is the means to get us there to that lesson. I think this is a really charming episode, episode 19 of season 1. I mean, I think by this time the audience really knows what this series is about. Now
the sweetness in that season 1 is so
really good.
There's nothing like it.
Yeah, really good. We'd love to know what you think, so let us know your thoughts on the episode and our observations if you think we're on it or we're completely off our rocker as we described this.
Okay. I mean, that's our episode. You guys, I can't believe we wrapped it up as quickly as we did this time, but I loved this episode too.
When we decide it's time, baby.
Sorta, kinda.
Let's do it.
Sometimes.
All right.
Hey, we're going to continue the discussion on Patreon. And listen, for those of you who are not on Patreon, one of the perks of being on Patreon is that you get an advanced release of the episode the day before it comes out. You get the advanced release. You can hear it commercial free on Patreon the day before. So Wednesday it'll come out on Patreon, and then Thursday we have our fun stuff that we release on Patreon. That's the extra bonus stuff. So join us if you haven't already. We have such a good time. And also join us on our socials, Little House 50 Podcast, on our website, littlehouse50podcast.com. All of the events and info will be in the link. What's the main link, Dean? The for all of the Prairie.
Is it littlehouse50podcast.com?
Yeah, no, I just mean for all the events.
Little House Cast Reunions.
That's it. Little House Cast Reunions.
Oh, you're talking about
it's
for
in
the
the show notes.
It's
Little
House
in
on the Prairie Cast Little House on the Prairie Cast
Prairie.
The longest URL on planet Earth. Little House on the Prairie Cast Reunions.com.
AllisonArngrim.net got all the events listed with links.
There you go.
It's out there. You can find it. You can find us. And hopefully we will see you next time. It's time. Bob, get the wig. Let's fly. Red buttons.
I'm flying away from the buffalo who may catch me.
I know. Oh, the buffalo, the honorary buffalo. Yeah, no chimpanzees, everybody. just a reminder.